Hey everybody, it's Eugene Driscoll from valleyindy.org. I'm here with Jody Mosier and Tony Spinelli, and this is our weekly podcast. And damn it, we're going to call it a podcast. It's called Navel Gazing, as suggested by one of our snarky readers in the comment section last week. And we're talking budgets this week. It's the crunch time with municipal and school budgets in the Valley, and it's interesting. And for my 2 cents, I think the most interesting budget going on is in Derby, where there is a legitimate difference of opinion between two political parties as to funding the school district. The Republicans want to give a little bit less than the Democrats want to give, but nobody seems to want to fund the full $1.2 million increase that was requested by the school board. And we just posted a story at valleyindy.org called The Budget Cheat Sheet. And probably one thing that you'll get from that, we hope, is that there's a lot of talk about, teachers making too much money, administrators making too much money. But if you look at both budgets, everybody and their brother's getting a raise in Derby, teachers and union workers on the city side. So if anything, it tells you, or it should teach children, don't go into journalism, go into the public sector. And coming up in Derby with that budget, as I blab on endlessly here, Monday's the public hearing, and check our website. Monday's the public hearing. That's when you can come out and give your 2 cents, Derby. Tuesday is when the tax board is scheduled to possibly have a final budget. Then it'll go back to the school board, who'll have to decide how they're going to deal with that new number. So anyway, that's what's going on in Derby. The biggest surprise, I think, of the budget season so far, Oxford. And Tony, what the heck is going on in Oxford?
Yeah, well, it surprised everybody because at the public hearing, at the town meetings they had on the budget, it was all silent. No one came out and said, hey, this is too high, you've got to lower it. There was no public sentiment at all.
And we should just note, as the surprise that we're referring to,
it's been 3 years now that it always passed. Usually,
and it got rejected.
It was on the first try, right?
Lost Tuesday.
And it got rejected. Town and school budgets were rejected. And that was a surprise to a number of people because last year they were approved on the first try. And so the question is now what to do. Do you cut 50,000 out of it? Do you cut 100,000 out of it? Do you cut nothing out of it and just put it out again with a little more publicity this time? And it's really coming to that question.
And it's sort of interesting to me. Somebody just posted on our Facebook wall, Facebook.com Valley Independent Sentinel, about the Oxford story, saying, this question about how, quote, both sides didn't do anything to publicize this budget, which is depressing to us as journalists because, Oxford has us, Oxford Patch, Connecticut Post, Republican American, and Voices, the Weekly, all said, hey, this thing's coming up. So I'm not sure how much more they could do to publicize it, other than start going to our site and reading the news. And then you have, what's sort of interesting about that, Oxford, I'll say it, is by far the most politically cantankerous town in the Valley. And tell us about what Mike Macchio, or Macchio, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I apologize.
Yeah, Mike Macchio is a Republican on the Board of Education. And he was saying after the vote on Tuesday that he believes the PTO is partly responsible, at least, for the budget failure because it didn't actively promote the budget and tell people to go out and vote for the school budget. He said they had done that in the past, like a couple of years ago, but now that the Board of Ed is Republican-controlled, they're not doing that. He believes they are aligned with the Democrats.
Which is interesting. Just from as a reporter, it seems to me that this year, for the first time in my experience, it's sort of open season on what is usually sacred cows in local municipalities and local government. It's now suddenly okay, because Mayor Stafari's saying it in Derby. It's now okay for an elected official to say, hey, you know what? Teachers get paid too much. It used to be just administrators. Now they're saying teachers across the board get paid too much. And the fact that, in Oxford, you have a member of the Board of Education sort of going after the parent-teacher organization is interesting. I think it's kind of a reflection of...
the times.
Yeah.
10 years ago, people would not have done that because, like you said, it was sort of a sacred cow. But nowadays, they feel differently.
Gas prices
And
hit $4, and forget it. Everything's up for grabs. So that's Oxford, and it's going to go in front of the Board of Finance.
Right, the Board of Finance is going to pick up the ball on Monday with a special meeting.
Monday.
They're going to try to figure out how much to trim, if any, because there is a possibility they'll just put the same budget back out.
Which is interesting. I mean, that'll be interesting
It's
if they
been done
do that.
before in other towns.
And then I'm just segueing so we don't go on for too long. Seymour, the town that hates school budgets.
Right. The Seymour school budget has been trimmed by $25,000 since the last referendum. And next Thursday, there'll be another referendum just for the school budget. And they'll see if that will pass with the voters.
And this will be the third go-around this year for the school budget?
I believe it's the third go-around for the school budget so far.
Wow. And then last year, I think it took 3 to 4.
It passed on its fourth last year.
On its fourth time. And that's...
With a level... No increase.
Zero budget. Yeah, that's amazing. And then Jody is coming back from Team Tate or something today. Some Team Tate press. Getting a haircut. Jody got the day off and just stopped in to do this wonderful podcast. Ansonia and Shelton. Shelton breezes through everything. The streets are paved with gold in Shelton.
Or not paved with gold, or not paved at all, depending on who you ask. But
Chad Jansen. Shout out to Chad Jansen.
Shelton was the interesting budget because they actually got a tax decrease while everyone else is looking at minimal tax increases or even larger ones. So if you have a house assessed at $200,000, your taxes will go down a whopping $8 next year.
Woo!
Which depending on who you ask, that's ridiculous.
10 years ago, that could get you into a movie.
Right now, they're saying, hey, if it goes down, it's better than even staying level or going up $8. So.
Take that savings, buy a beer at the Dewdrop.
Yeah, you can get one beer, down in Fairfield County with that, and there you go. But Ansonia went up $500,000, which is about $100 increase, and they're both approved, and so that's that with those budgets.
All right, and as our phones ringing, that's WICC calling. What I'm going to try to do is just let that play through. So we hung up on them. Sorry, WICC, I'll call you right back. All right, our podcast is now taking a turn towards the ugly. And I guess we'll just close by saying you got Shelton, you're going to be paying $8 less in taxes next year. In Derby, you're going to be paying, if it's adopted as proposed, it's about $171 for the average assessed value at $170, I think it is. Oxford, the one that got rejected, what was that, Tony? You know what the dollar amount was going to be?
Well,
that's when they did the reval.
Yeah,
Oxford was up in the air. Oxford was up in the
air.
So
no one knows.
And in Seymour, it's going to be about $168 more a year based on a $200,000 home.
All right. That's all we have for this week. We're going to check our voicemail and try to figure out how to turn off the ringers next week.